But that's the photo. I think people see it and then they see an interview or something and they go, this guy's just smug.
It just looks like you're smelling something really good in that picture.
I'm making the smug face.
You're going, what a delicious aroma.
Yeah, right. Well, it was Jakarta where the food is amazing. So I may have just wafted like a particular thing from one of the food trucks at the festival. And I was like, oh, yes.
Yes.
After the gig, that's where I'm headed. So
let me ask you this. How much tour prior to the disastrous pestilence that we are currently in? Right. How often are you touring with, like on an international basis with either your band or with the puppy?
Mm-hmm.
As it were?
Yeah, man. It's a lot of work. We're out a lot. I usually do lately, at least over the past. Well, let's see if I can how to quantify this. There's usually some kind of European tour with Snarky and some kind of US tour with Snarky. With my solo stuff, it's generally been overseas. Okay. So I usually go to Europe twice for maybe like 2 weeks at a time. And then I do a lot of spot dates or short runs as a solo artist here, where I'll go, do 3 or 4 days in California or something like that, or a one-off here, one off there. We've done a couple like van tours from here in DFW, like up through either the Southeast or like the Midwest or something like that. And we did California one time. So I think like logistically, at least with the travel stuff, for whatever reason in Europe, well, the distances are way shorter.
Right.
For sure. So it's a little bit more streamlined traveling over there, which I think is why we sort of end up there a lot. And then, of course, there's the demand is, I have a lot of listeners there, thankfully. So we get to go over there and play. And in the States, I think there's just a little bit more of a logistical thing, especially in Texas, because it's not like, well, we're in the middle of the country, but we're like south. So it's like, It's just a lot of driving.
Yeah. Texas itself is
Texas. You can tour in fact, most of the country artists that are based out of here play like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana, and that's all they do.
Right.
But with our music, we need to get to the West Coast, we need to get the East Coast, we need to kind of do everything, really.
Right.
So I would like to, this kind of thing, before the pandemic hit, we were going to try to hit the States a lot more this year under my own name,
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm on the road a fair amount, to say the least.
Well, it's interesting because people, it's always interesting to me to figure out, because I've been doing this for a fair amount of time.
Yeah.
It's like how you juggle all the different stuff. Because, you have a family and you got to make enough money to do that. But you also have to make sure that you're home and you got to do this, that, and the next thing. So you really have to wear all these different hats. And, I would say I probably average between 130, 150 days on the road a year. And that's kind of been the way it's been for 15, going on 20 years, something like that. Which some people might go, oh, you're never home. Like, yeah, but when I'm home, I'm home. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like if you worked a 9-to-5 job and you're gone every week, except for 2 weeks out of the year. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those things.
Yeah. Really, it kind of adds up. Like you said, when you're home, you're home.
Right.
So I'll do, like if you're in town, we'll play together. I'll do a show like that. I'll do a couple shows locally with my thing, maybe do some gigs with some friends. Some recording stuff, but like generally I'm not out every night playing a club gig,
right?
When I'm off tour,
right?
And that's just what, if you want to live your life on the road, then you need, that's where you make your money. And so when you're home, you're home. That's just how it works.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, plus you're down in Texas where you can get good barbecue and there's waffle houses.
Wait a minute. Well, yeah, but
well, it's funny because every time we're down there, Dylan's like, we got to go to Waffle House. And then Toby's like, oh, we're going to, I'm like, Waffle House? And now they got me. Now, first off,
it's kind of awesome. Like sometimes it's kind of like, I think I would actually prefer Waffle House over IHOP sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which some people might freak out that they heard that. But like, there's a vibe like sitting at the counter at the Waffle House with the menu, and you don't even really have to read anything. You just sort of point.
Yeah.
And then it arrives, and you can watch the grease getting made, and then they give you the grease. It's just like a It's like, this is American. I like, sometimes you just got to do that. You know what I mean?
Delicious.
Just sit at the counter and just grease it up, man.
Yeah.
So, I respect that. I respect the Waffle House vibe. Yeah, man.
You got to eat it. Let me ask you this. Like, when you're doing your Instagram video, because we've talked about this before a while back, I think, but
okay,
it seemed to be a lot more connected to, well, if I post it at this time of day, this is going to happen. It's fascinating to me what gets a lot. I mean, just of my own stuff going, well, I posted this just at rando one time a day and it was this thing versus this other time of day I posted this and it did this. And I don't do the hashtags and any of that kind of stuff because I don't know what that's all about. If I did, it'd be like hashtag, nut nougat or something. You know what I mean?
Right. Try it. You might trend in a whole different realm there.
God only knows who I'd get following that. But be that as it may, not that there's anything wrong with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. But I'm just curious as to, how much is it very scientific or is there a lot of random aspect to what you do?
It's half and half. I have like I try to post in the mornings on weekdays.
Yeah.
Usually around 10 a.m. Central Time. Maybe because I think I may have read that somewhere that it was like an active time. But then sometimes, the videos won't quote unquote do as well as you think. And then you're like, well, maybe I should post in the afternoon on a random day. And then nobody sees it.
Right.
And then other times you're like, I'll post randomly on a Sunday. And then it's like,
right.
So it's one of those things where like you can really rack your brain and get stressed out about it if you try and keep up with the quote unquote Instagram algorithm. Because I think they're obviously constantly changing it, this, that, and the other. There is sort of, I think, possibly like a general rule with it, which is sort of weird, is that like I think the more active you are on the platform,
right,
technically the better your stuff will do, which is kind of weird because then it's like, well, you're just on your phone all day.
Right. I mean, that's
and I don't want to do that. Yeah. So
I don't want to do it either. I usually post stuff and I go and I'll check in. Oh, yeah. And
cool.
Then
people
it's
dig
like,
it.
Okay, well, like if Mark likes something and says something, I'll say, hey, Mark. But then it's like, I don't want to talk to 100 people. I got shit. I got to go to the grocery store.
Right.
You know what I mean? I do a live feed and, then my wife's looking at me on the phone. What are you doing on the phone? Oh, I'm responding to, Nut Nougat 354.
Who has a problem with my hat or
nice
something.
Jam. Thanks, Nut Nougat. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Flame, muscle, prayer. You know what I mean? It's like, it'd be all day long. Am I right?
Yeah, but Instagram would love you for it. I mean, that's what's so funny. It's like, cause sometimes like, and I'll do it as much with you, but maybe I'll start. I'll troll some of my friends, their posts, right. and it'll start this whole thing. And then I'll send them a private text and be like, hey man, I didn't mean to like crap all over your thing, but like technically because I'm commenting and interacting, now the video is going to do better in the algorithm. Right. So you're welcome.
Yeah. You're welcome.
But yeah, man, it's like,
you're the troll they can count on.
I guess so. Well, I only troll my friends and it's all in good fun. I don't troll people I don't know because you're just an asshole if you do that. It's weird, man. Like I used to think that there was sort of a science to it, and maybe there is. I just haven't figured out. I'm sure if I probably like paid for one of those services that like does all the stuff for you and like does all the liking and all that robo stuff, maybe they would do better. Yeah, but that just feels weird. I don't think I would want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
just out. Yeah, I don't get it.
I've been working with this agent who's been booking stuff, and their marketing person has my password. So every now and again, I'll see I'm liking stuff. And responding to things, but it's real. I mean, it's not over the top. It's all right. It's actually kind of handy. You know what I mean? But
okay.
But it's not very much, because I think that's kind of weird too. Because it's like it just seems. But there's obviously people that do it to great.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's like I'm here sitting saying I don't want to do it, but then there's people that have those services and they probably have 8 bajillion more followers than I do. So it's like, well, okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing, man. It's like there's no right way, there's no wrong way to do it.
Well, let me ask you this. I've kind of in my and again, these are just kind of my rando thoughts on this stuff.
Yeah, sure.
It's just kind of by trial and error, as you well know. You just try to figure it all out. But
right.
it seems, all the different formats have their own cultures. Twitter is completely bizarre and weird and what people
I don't really
for.
tweet.
Well, I've started to do a little bit more on there, and now but it's almost seems like on Twitter, unless you have committed to being occasionally caustic, you're not going to get any follow. And I just won't do that. I'm not going to comment on controversial things. I'm just going to put an occasional video and say something funny every now and again. And then there's Facebook, and then you've got your personal Facebook page, and you got your band Facebook page, and maybe you should start a fan page. Okay, I'll get that going as well. And then there's the YouTube thing, and you go to all these different stuff, but it's amazing, when you post stuff to different places, and all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm getting a bunch of sales from my website, and it just seems like certain things respond on different formats more in a fiduciary way than on a more of a popularity kind of a way. Would you not agree?
Yes, I think so. I think I wish, I guess I haven't quite gone down the route of trying to quantify which platform is sort of benefiting me the most. Because it's weird. Yeah. I think I'm definitely probably most active on Instagram.
Right.
That's just the way I think. I don't know. It's just working out.
Right.
Twitter, I don't really do much with. And then Facebook, I used to do a lot on Facebook. But over the past couple of years, I just don't know what I've just noticed that I think it's more of a pay site now, and so I've just seen my numbers really kind of steady there, not a lot of growth there. But then sometimes the YouTube thing will be cool for me. Right. So I don't, but then I feel like with YouTube, this content that tends to do better, maybe at least for me, is the big production stuff.
Sure.
Which obviously takes a bunch of time and a bunch of money. So I don't do those very often. I really only post that kind of stuff if I have a record about to come out.
Exactly. Yep.
But yeah, for me, it's been kind of just the Instagram thing, and it's been working. I quantify it to record sales and downloads, and then getting people to shows.
Right. Exactly.
So it's kind of one of those things where it's if you're gonna be doing music under your own name, you kind of have to participate in some way.
Absolutely.
That's just the way it is now.